Everybody, to a Monday edition after the Super Bowl 60 has wrapped up and the NFL season is officially in the rear view mirror. A Monday morning here on B365. Johnny Mack, how you doing on this Monday morning? Post Super Bowl, post Seattle victory, post Sam Darnold getting it done. How you doing this morning, J Mac?
Doing well, yeah. That was a tough one to watch. New England, boy. There are some teams in the AFC that right off the bat, I'm like, well, they got to be ashamed of themselves. Now with Denver, I think it's pretty clear that Denver would have been in the Super Bowl, probably made it a better game. Not probably, definitely would have made it a better game, but that's just bad luck. You get Bo Nix injured when they got him injured, and you got to play Jarrett Stidham. But I look at that Houston game with C.J. Stroud. I'm like, if you just don't play the worst game in human recorded history, Houston's probably in the Super Bowl. Boy, I don't know how to explain Drake Maye. I hope it's the shoulder. Because he was not just he was abysmal in that game. Abysmal.
He's been bad most of the
and he's
playoff.
been bad the entire playoff entire playoff run. I hope it's the shoulder. That did not look like a Super Bowl team to me. The New England Patriots. It's kind of what I thought coming into the game. Seattle did, and they're a good team, and they had a great season. But boy, I don't know how New England made it through. I give them credit, and the defense is good. And Milton, I was glad to see Milton play really well. Had a chance to have a bunch of sacks, only got one. But he was dominating inside. Both offensive lines were just terrible in pass protection. Terrible. Which kind of, it's difficult for any quarterback when you're under duress, but it was more than that for Drake Maye. You kind of saw it on the other side. Sam Darnold didn't have a great game either, but when there were the opportunities to make some throws, he made the throws.
Yeah, he did.
And I was counting during the game. There's like 7 throws Drake Maye could have made. Guys were open. He had the time, and he missed them. He was bad. He was flat out bad. And all the advanced numbers say it. I know people love when I bring up EPA. According to EPA, he was the worst Super Bowl quarterback of the century, the entire century. And we've had some stinkers, and that was the biggest stinker. And for the box score people, they go, well, he threw for 295 yards. They had 79 total yards through 3 quarters.
Holy moly, 79 through 3. That's like an Eagles offense, John.
Well, that's the thing. Well, locally, everybody, it looks like Kevin Patullo. Well, maybe you guys should look in the mirror and say, well, you all love Josh McDaniels. What a great offensive coordinator. He can't scheme up shitty play. Nobody can scheme up shitty play. There's no such thing.
I wasn't bashing Patullo. I was just saying, reminded me of the Eagles.
No. I'm saying a lot of people, a lot of local people on social media. It's like Kevin Patullo was cloned. I'm like, they always go to the coaches. The guys played the worst game I've ever seen.
Well, McDaniel has a pretty good resume as well.
Before C.J. Stroud. Well, that's the point. He's a proven guy. You can't say that. You can say that about Patullo. You can't say that about Josh McDaniel. That's kind of my point. You can't scheme up shitty play. And the quarterback in New England was really bad. So was the offensive line. So Will Campbell was everything they brought up about him in the draft and concerns, it all showed up at the biggest moment. Just constant pressure. And obviously when you get constant pressure early, it's going to affect you. But Sam Darnold got constant pressure early. Constant. They weren't much better, especially on the interior. The Seattle offensive line was brutal on the interior when Milton was just whipping people. But, he was able to sidestep and do some things and make some throws. And that's what you need when your offensive line isn't playing up to par. But you can't dismiss that the Patriots offensive line was dismal. And the Seattle defense is very good. And have to give them a lot of credit.
Yeah, that Seattle team, they do deserve a lot of credit. I'll tell you what, though, John, I know you're going to view this maybe perhaps differently, but Eagles had their problems this year. But man, I watched two teams last night that if the Eagles had played their brand of football or played a better version of their brand of football, they'd be right there in that game. I really believe that. I don't think those teams are that more, certainly not the Patriots, but the Seahawks.
Oh yeah, I mean the Patriots, defense,
but
I mean they're better team than the Patriots. They're better. They're flat out better. Even now, even after they're better. But Seattle, like I said, if Seattle play their A game and the Eagles play their A game, this year Seattle's winning. They're a better team.
I think so too. Yeah, Seattle's defense was good. Yeah, they good squad. What did you think of Kenneth Walker getting the MVP?
Good, he deserved it. Well, I would have voted for Witherspoon, but nobody's going to. Same as last year, nobody's going to vote for a defensive player in this era, even though obviously they dominated the game. So that's who I would have voted for because I think he had a phenomenal game. I think Gonzalez had a phenomenal game. Two great corners.
Yeah. Yep.
But I would have voted for Witherspoon. But yeah, with the way I understand that people are going to vote, I think he deserved it, Kenneth Walker. So, the default setting, you can't really default to quarterback because Sam only had 202 yards passing, so they're not going to go that direction. And no receivers.
I think he was like 50% completions too. He struggled a little bit in the game, but
yeah,
look, he did what he needed to do, man. He didn't turn the ball over.
That's the thing. It was a defensive game, and he made the plays that were there, and the other guy didn't. That's the difference.
Exactly right.
And nobody's going to go this route, but who might have been the MVP? Michael Dixon, the punter. I mean, that guy. That's the best punter in football. The kickoff. Jake Myers, the kicker, had 5 field goals, which is a Super Bowl record. So special teams were a big part of it as well. But nobody's going to vote for that. But for the way people vote, that was the right decision. And people aren't going to look at defense. They didn't look at defense last year. But Witherspoon is probably the guy that affected the game the most, in my opinion.
Yeah, Jason Myers, you're right, the kicker. He had 17 points in the game, 5 for 5 from field goals and 2 for 2 on extra points. 17 points in the Super Bowl is pretty good for a damn kicker. But all right, good stuff, everybody. Super Bowl 60 is officially wrapped, Johnny Mac. The season is done and dusted, and the Philadelphia Eagles are no longer your defending or reigning or whatever word you want to use. I know you don't like to use the word defending.
Reigning,
they are no longer whatever word you want to use. The Seahawks are now the champs.
Well, they weren't defending. Even if you want to argue defending, they got blown out on January 11th. So they haven't been defending anything. That's why they were the reigning Super Bowl champions until last night. Now it's the Seattle Seahawks, and they will be the reigning Super Bowl champions until Super Bowl 61, no matter what, no matter when they bail or get knocked out. But good team. I think there was one deserving Super Bowl team on the field last night, and they won. For years, I will try to figure out. And Mike Vrabel deserves a lot of credit, and Coach of the Year has gotten it, turned that team around. They won 4 games last year. So I give him a lot of credit, but also the way he coached that game, it's like, what are you doing, dude? You got nothing going offensively, and he's going conservative. I'm like, you're on the biggest stage. Go try to win the game. Yeah, you're not going to win it.
Go coach to win it, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Go try to win the game. I just hate that philosophy. And it was the big Drake Maye fumble. Boy, he holds on to the ball a lot. Boy, I'm glad he didn't win MVP. I mean, it was so close, and Matthew Stafford deserved it. But he's not. Boy.
You're not sold in on him.
No, not even remotely. And I hope it's, because I didn't watch a lot of regular season Patriots because I'll be honest, coming into the season, I thought they were one of the worst teams in football, as I think most people did. So I try to focus on teams that I think are going to be good. So they just, like I said, they deserve a ton of credit. They go from 4 wins to making the Super Bowl. They have the most they have the largest win differential from one season to the next in NFL history, positive in NFL history. So, I mean, and they're good defensively. So that explains a lot of it. And they just made some plays offensively, and he's a good deep ball thrower. But as far as playing the position that I always talk about, can't play the position. Can't recognize blitzes. It's all deep shots. Even when they got things going, it was just like throwing it up for grabs to Mac Hollins of all people down the field, like one-on-ones. Yeah, he's got a long way to go. And that's, the bigger crisis in the NFL with these offenses, quarterbacks can't play the damn position. And I don't see that improving. Because these young guys are, oof.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jalen got there pretty early. That's one of Jalen's biggest feathers, man. He performs on that stage, and he did both times he was there. So good stuff there. He was at the Super Bowl, John, just to put an Eagles slant on it. I saw Jalen Hurts was at the game. He came and got introduced with a bunch of former Super Bowl MVPs, which was pretty cool to see. So he was out there. I saw A.J. Brown making some headlines on Micah Parsons' podcast. I also saw an interesting comment from Michael Parsons about he almost got traded.
Oh boy!